Hello and welcome to Offers That Sell Consistently. Have you ever had a half launched, half built, or half sold event or offer in your business? If you had that experience, you probably left with frustration because you've poured a lot of energy, resources, and time in building the offer or the event, right? And not being able to sell it or get the results you're expecting, it was quite a frustrating experience. I know that because I get to speak to women who have that same frustration almost daily. And this is why I've put this short workshop to help you understand why that happened and what to do different next time. My name is Rumiana Nyati, and I'm passionate about making sales simple, helping entrepreneurs in the health and well-being space build the strategy, skills, and systems in their business to make sure that their next offer sells consistently. Let's dive in. Who's this for? This is for you if you are a service based business with skills and expertise, passionate about making a difference with your work. This is for you that maybe you have currently clients, you're having referrals coming, but it's inconsistent and quite effort heavy, relying on a lot of activity. You are not a beginner, you've built a lot, you've done a lot, but you're just seeking that consistency in selling your offers or events. This is for you also if you've tried different tactics, different strategies, different tools in the past. And despite all of that work, you're still finding yourself in the try and error mode. Sometimes things work, sometimes it doesn't. It's just nothing really connects cohesively. This is also for you if you want to get clients not from chasing and pressure, but just want to have a repeatable pattern, repeatable way and client journey so that you get the right clients regularly without guesswork, without trial and error. And this is especially for you if you are hardworking, skilled entrepreneur who has reached a certain level, you've worked hard, you feel like you've stuck at that ceiling and you're ready to grow and take your business to the next level, but somehow there's that friction and there's still that looking for that solution to make things work well. My promise to you is that in this workshop, we're going to dive in deeper beyond the symptoms, beyond the frustration. We're going to dive deeper and look at this. What's causing those symptoms? What's causing for you to have the skill, the expertise, the knowledge to have built things? You have the offers. Maybe you've written a book, you've got a podcast, or you're speaking at stages, and still, with all that effort, with all that visibility, and all the things that you've created, and the credibility, expertise, and knowledge you have, you can't seem to have that compounding effect. This is for you, and not only just looking at the symptoms, we're going to dive into look the diagnosis. So you're going to walk away with the diagnosis, why visibility effort isn't turning into consistent clients. We're going to look actually deeper than that and understand what's causing that friction and inconsistency, the root cause. And I'm going to share the 3 campaigns that are tried and tested and continue to bring clients to my business and the clients I work with. The 3 campaigns, very simple campaigns that turn attention into clients regularly. Who am I? I'm Rumiana Nyati and I'm founder of several businesses. The business that I have the most passion for is my business consultancy and mentorship business, Coach Right Speak, that over the years I've helped skilled entrepreneurs build the business ecosystems, get the visibility, and turn their knowledge and expertise into clients, growth, and opportunity. My biggest success is my client success story. And here have few of my highlight moments standing on stages like Forbes Business Awards, supporting some of my client successes, being TEDx speakers. Most of my clients have gone away ahead to win awards and become award winners and best selling authors simply because they understood the connection between having a skills and knowledge and understanding and knowing how to create demand for that skill and knowledge and how to sell, and not in a pushy or chasey way, but in a structured way with where you have a strategic positioning and you have a system to generate clients consistently. Because the truth is that you can be qualified, you can be experienced, you can have years building your qualification and credibility, You can be very active and seeking that visibility and still struggle to sell your offers, still struggle to get clients and sales. Have you ever felt like that? That you've put the effort, you've put the time and the resources, and still things are not fully working? My biggest aha moment that got me to realize this, that skills doesn't equal sales, was simply when I spent the first year of my business working so hard behind the scenes, pushing for visibility, pushing to be everywhere, to do everything, doing more of everything, only to realize that activity and effort didn't generate the sales I was looking for and the clients. So I kept having the half built, half launched, half sold events and offers. That created so much frustration. And I realized it was not just me. So instead of focusing on doing more and just being sensing the symptoms, I wanted to dive in deeper. I wanted to dive deeper underneath the symptoms because I have come from a medical background. And in the medical field, you don't just look at the symptom and go for a prescription. You get to understand, you seek to understand the root cause of that. So you're no longer just treating the symptoms, you're treating the actual cause. So this is what we're doing today. We're diving deeper, not just the symptoms, but what's actually causing that friction and frustration of having maybe clients having losing momentum, having clients, and again losing momentum of that start stop momentum. So the realization I've come to know is that the problem is not the lack of effort or the lack of offers or events you've built. It was the lack of having an ecosystem that everything gets plugged into. So once you understand that, effort, visibility, and all the other work that you put your energy into starts to make sense. So let's dive in and look at actually the symptoms that are causing those offers or sales or clients that are dropping out and not getting the results. Maybe if, like me or some of the clients that I work with, have focused your attention on doing more, and you fall into the trap, like I call it the doing more trap, where you push and focus on the to-do list. You do more posting, more promoting, more networking, chasing more qualifications, going to more events, and trying to launch more services, thinking maybe the next one will actually stick and get the right attention. The symptoms of the doing more trap is actually you end up feeling exhausted. You're having that constant pressure for showing up. You're having that start stop momentum in your business. Clients come and go. There is that unpredictable flow of clients in your business. They come, then they disappear. Maybe you have some referrals, then there's nothing. You don't control the process of getting clients, basically. It just feels like everything depends on you and if you show up, if you have the energy to show up. And often, this type of activity, when you rely on yourself to do more, to get more in your business, it starts to generate that self doubt and question. Am I good enough? Am I consistent enough? What else can I do? What shall I do? And that is keeps you stuck in that perpetual doing more cycle. So if you're experiencing any of these symptoms right now, I would encourage you just to make a little note and see what you've been doing more of. And is that actually bringing the results you're looking for, or is it just keeping you busy? Because there's difference between being busy and getting the results you want. So these are the symptoms of when you rely on yourself and get caught into the do more cycle versus having an ecosystem. And we're going to talk about the ecosystem very shortly, but before I prescribe the solution and give you the solution, I want you to have that check-in of symptom and root cause of the symptom. And once you know that, once you understand that, it's much more easier to see why that symptom and the root cause of that has been causing you to stall, it's been causing you to not be able to sell the offers or the events you have, or maybe not having that fully launched, fully built offer that you wanted to sell. Maybe why is that happening? So the first trap is the doing more trap, where you rely on yourself instead of having an ecosystem that works for you. Number two is the random strategy trap, or I call it the quick fix trap. Many entrepreneurs that come to me, they already experienced, they have businesses, they've done a lot of work, and they get caught into this particular trap where they are busy getting tactics, strategies, and tools, especially with AI now, thinking that particular one will fix their problem. And what that looks like, buying more tools, subscribing to different platforms, copying other people's strategies, doing different things, bright shiny strategies, objects like I call them, but nothing seems to connect or nothing seems to work. You're just having more things to learn, more things to master, more things to keep up going. Symptoms of that could be feeling confused about what actually works. Maybe you've started many things, you have those half built, half launched events or offers, many unfinished ideas and half built systems, starting new strategies but never seeing the results you want, feeling scattered between platforms and tactics, and just really guessing what is it that really works. Maybe the next thing will fix it. This is the quick fix trap. If you're seeing any of these symptoms, it's not that you're doing anything wrong, it's simply that you've fallen into that trap of still relying on individual tools, tactics, or strategy rather than having a complete system or ecosystem of all of those things plugged in and aligned so that can create the result you want. And the last trap of the skilled but stuck trap is the doing it alone. So many skilled entrepreneurs fall in the trap. They are expert, they have the credentials, and they believe that they can master all this. They can shift that skill and knowledge to get it in front of clients and make it work. But the truth is that having a skill and expertise in what you are trained and credible, and creating demand and selling that skill and expertise, they're two different skills. And when you take your attention to being an expert in your field, to try to be a full-time marketer and trying to do all things alone, you get stuck further in that same skilled but stuck trap. You're trying to figure things alone, all these new tools, all the new AI, clever tricks and tactics and tools that can take away your attention from what you're good at. So there is still not cohesiveness, there's no consistency, but you're still trying to do things alone. And there's nothing wrong with that. That shows that you really care and you have that attention to details. You're a perfectionist. Maybe you want things to work so well, but in the desire to make things work, you can be your worst enemy. How that looks like in terms of symptoms, people are just looking at the offers you're promoting, and because they're only probably based on just that activity visibility, they like, they comment, and they walk away. There's no system. Again, you're just relying on the trial and error, doing things alone. Conversations don't turn into clients. Referrals are the only reliable source, but again, you don't control those, and you feel uncomfortable selling because it just feels like chasing. Again, there's a lot of guesswork around that. So these are the symptoms and the root causes of what happens when you try to sell, when you try to grow your business and get clients by activity, doing more, chasing tactics and strategies that as individual solutions, and doing it alone. Understanding that helps you see that there's nothing that you're doing wrong. It's just you're relying at this level where you have grown to, you're relying on a self rather than a system. Next level, it takes all of the things that you've built to be plugged into what I call a build to scale system. The build to scale system is a signature framework or blueprint that I've designed, I've tried and tested so many times into my own business and implemented this in my business, in the business of my clients, just to prove that all of the solutions and tactics that I've used before as individual solutions on their own, they can't work. I had taken this approach to dive deeper beyond the symptoms, beyond the root cause, to prescribe a solution that is not a standalone, one single solution or way, but a comprehensive framework that helps you build, launch, and sell your offers consistently. Build to Scale does exactly that in a most simplified way. It helps you build your business around three marketing campaigns or three, I call it business campaigns, because they capture not just marketing, they capture strategy, sales, and marketing. And I'm going to show you exactly how that happens. But the important thing is that Build to Scale is designed to take your knowledge and skills, package it in those three campaigns, and make and give you that framework, that template to sell your expertise in your offers in a proven, repeatable way rather than guessing and chasing. Because now you move away from relying to self to relying on a system. And it's really quite simple. I have broken it into 3 campaigns, so you actually get to see each one of those and check for yourself where your business is right now in terms of those campaigns and those assets. Do you have that in your business? Let's dive into the first one. The first one I call the discovery campaign. Everything starts here. Most businesses that I get to speak to come to me and say, well, I feel like I need more visibility. My services, my business, my offers are not reaching out to a wide audience. I need more visibility. But the problem with that is that people misunderstand visibility. Visibility is overrated. Instead of visibility, they think they have a visibility problem. I point them out to understand they actually have a discovery problem. And what a discovery problem is, I simply put it into the terms of having them understand that discovery is not about you being discovered or you being visible. A discovery campaign helps your ideal client discover themselves. Your discovery campaign is not focused on shouting about you, your services, your credentials. It's focused on designing a solution for your clients to discover the pattern, the pain, and the problem for themselves. Because research shows that 95% of our clients of the market or the people are walking around stuck in their head, focusing on the problems, focusing on the pain they're experiencing, on the frustration. They're so hooked on that pain. They are not open to any selling of solutions. It might be the perfect solution that you have for them, but they're just not in that frame of mind to see the value of that. 95% of your ideal clients are walking around in their world stuck with that pain focus. So what happens? They're walking around trying to understand why they're stuck. Why is this happening to them? Why nothing is changing despite them trying different things? What's really causing the problem? And this is where you come in when you have a discovery campaign designed to see them and match them where they are, focused on their pain, and able to take them from where they are to take them on that process to discover what's causing that. This is where things shift, because when you are focused on getting people to discover you and getting that visibility, that basically means that you're just marketing to 5% of the market. When I work with my clients, we flip things, we reverse engineer things completely different. We focus on having a discovery campaign. All of the front work of their visibility, positioning, packaging, and pitching, it focuses on the client and their pain. It's not about discovering you, it's about discovering themselves to help them see a pattern they couldn't previously explain. Without this campaign, no matter how much work you put in, no matter how much of marketing budget you put in into advertisement, nothing works because you are pointing the light to the wrong problem or a wrong person. You're pointing the light, spotlighting yourself rather than spotlighting them. This is like opening the door and welcoming people into your world. When you meet them where they are, although you already know the solution for them, this is not the time to start leading with selling. It's time to start building your discovery campaign. What discovery campaign looks like when I work with clients, we focus on designing different ways for clients to engage and discover their own pain and symptoms, what that's causing them. So we focus on symptom-based social posts, short-term videos, short-form videos, self-assessment quizzes, scorecards, could this be you content, educational workshops focused on the problem. Helping people feel seen, heard, understood builds rapport and opens that door for people to stop the scroll and come into your world. Diagnostic lead magnets, mini education courses. The key here to remember is that it's not about the audience discovering you, the practitioner, it's about discovering themselves. And again, I can't repeat this enough, seeing a pattern they couldn't previously explain. Once they have that click, light bulb moment in their mind, they would do anything to follow and trust you, which will lead us to the second campaign. So I'm just going to give a quick example here. I worked with someone who was helping people with emotional losing weight on the emotional side of things, hypnotherapy, and helping people do the inner work. So she kept posting and promoting, sharing tips, sharing techniques about what emotional eating is, trying to educate people, talking about the program and all the credentials she has. but nobody was buying because people were just not connecting to the solution. They were not at that frame of mind. She was speaking to the only 5% of people who knew about that, but unfortunately, she wasn't reaching those. So she had really narrowed her market because of the way she was approaching. So people who are stuck in their problem, they feel specifically for her audience, they felt stuck, they felt ashamed, they felt confused. And she had to change the way she built her discovery campaign, her lead magnet, how we approach things, shifted from offering a solution to offering a diagnostic, offering understanding, and getting people out of their stuck on their pain, understanding, having that awareness. And simple content or simple short form video, like, do you feel like you're fighting a battle with food that nobody else can see? Something like that. I remember one of those simple shifts changed the engagement. She had so many more inquiries. She started building a discovery campaign that attracted so many of her right clients, and everything shifted just because she shifted the focus from being focused on her, then to from the focus on her to the focus of her client pain. Number two, campaign number two in the build to scale is the trust campaign. You see, the trust campaign is just a natural extension to the discovery campaign. Most business owners think that as long as they get the attention, the discovery, then things stop there. They share free information, download guides, and maybe invite people to events, but then there's no follow up, nothing happens. But the truth is that it's not enough just for you to discover your clients and for them to discover you. For clients to buy and become a paid client of yours, a trust needs to be built, a journey of trust. So, what does that look in terms of building your second campaign? There's a study here that shows that people moving from being unknown, not knowing about you or your business, to being a paid client, it takes around 7 hours of being around you, proximity, being consuming your content, or maybe getting to know you, meeting you, or virtual, maybe observing any coming to workshop that you're hosting, or maybe reading a podcast or a video or book that you've launched. Something that gives them value, 7 hours of that content, 11 touch points, and then 4 different platforms. So imagine the extent that you need to have. The ecosystem that facilitates that is what really helps move a client from one touch point to actually becoming a client. That's why it's so important to have those campaigns designed as an ecosystem, because they can provide the 7 hours of value content, 11 touch points, 4 different platforms. And this is a Google research, by the way. So the key here to remember is people need to get to know you, they get to like you, and they get to trust you. And that's a process that takes time. And the key is, yeah, campaigns, trust campaign moves people from borrowed attention to owned attention. What does that look like really when it comes to your business? What a trust campaign would look like? This will be series of content that you create, short form, long form, live, evergreen, in person, virtual, whatever that is, email, nurture sequences, workshops, masterclasses, case studies, newsletters, podcasts, one-to-one conversations, anything that builds trust over a certain period of time to design the 7-11-4 ecosystem. And this is what the one of the key elements of this part of the ecosystem or this campaign is: creating assets, getting close to your audience, speaking their language and adding value, building trust. And this is where the magic happens. You get clients and sales as a byproduct of this campaign. Before you even get to the selling process, people are already craving and wanting more from you. So it becomes so much more easier when you build your offers around this trust campaign. It's so magical and so amazing to see clients I work with that come overwhelmed. They've been building, trying to sell, trying to launch events and programs as a lot of activity work. When we actually channel things and use this trust campaign to align things and create only things that matter and that are aligned to their discovery campaign, actually they end up doing less work, with way much more results. I'm really excited about this because it truly changes the game of how you make sales and how you get clients. When your business is designed as an ecosystem, it just builds trust automatically, and it builds it through conversations, valuable content, insights, ascending offer structure. That's one thing we work on building with my clients, and building maybe a community and followers that actually are warm audience, and a community that you continue to give value and build trust. So discovery creates awareness, but trust creates belief. Because without this stage, the attention you've been fighting for, you've been trying to get from your clients will disappear. And my question to you here right now is, how does your trust campaign looks like? What happens after people discover you? What's the journey or the process? Where do you invite people to come? How do you keep in touch with them? How do you build that trust? What does it look like? How many touch points do you have? Remember the 7-Eleven 4 principle when you're building your trust campaign. What suits your business? Which type of content and assets do you build? All of those questions are really valuable when it comes to building your trust campaign and taking people closer, one step closer to making that sale. Talking about sales, this is the last campaign in the ecosystem. I call it the decision campaign. Well, actually, it's a choice because people make a choice to work with you without the push, without the chase. It's so simplified. Once you've designed all these campaigns to follow each other and to work together, it simply and literally becomes a system, an ecosystem that is repeatable and just works. Decision campaign is really where people come to you to work with you, to want to work with you, not because you're pushing or convincing them. They move because that just becomes the natural next step after having discovered the value of what you have, having built trust, having built the connection with you and received the value and decision to work with you becomes really easy of that. So the decision campaign, how would that look like in your business? This would look like something like maybe building workshops, having application process for an event, or a discussion group, or whatever that is that you have going, where you have a sales process, assessment, consultation, strategy sessions, anything that gets people as a natural step, as actual structured process to come closer to actually experiencing the the offers you have, or the sales you have ready to offer them. So this could be a diagnostic review or a private invitation. Depending on the business, the nature of your business, the decision campaign varies. But one thing that doesn't vary is that you need to have a structured process, a sales process where you guide that process, you lead that process, and you have control over that process. So the build to scale system, as I just shared, simply gives you those three campaigns to lead you, to help you plug in anything that you've already designed into a proven system to take people from being discovered, having the self discovery, getting to know you, getting to like and trust you during the trust campaign, and actually making a decision to work with you. A question that I always like to ask people when they come to my live workshops is, do you know the cost of the campaign imbalance in your business? If you have these campaigns and you have the assets and you have the offers, just having a slight imbalance between those campaigns can be costing you sales and can be costing you clients. Because not just simply you are exhausting yourself, having the work you do, the to-do list, the relying on yourself that cause exhaustion, the random strategy that causes you to buy random, invest money in random solutions, confusion, starting from scratch. But the biggest cost to any business is the cost of inconsistent sales. So, what if your next launch, your next offer gets fully sold? What if you can actually discover the three campaigns that can work for you and your business? I'm hosting a free workshop diving deeper into this, and I'll share the link below. I'd love to see you there.